What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Coffeez for Closers. Today, we're going to welcome Robert Drenk, the dynamic owner of Optimum First Mortgage and a notable figure from selling Sunset. Beyond leading a premier loan company, one of the best in the country, Robert's an innovator in the financial and RV industries and the founder of the Ultimate Arm Wrestling League. Known for his relentless business drive and commitment to communication, Robert's a devoted father of three from Surf City, USA. Join us as we dive into his journey of financial empowerment, his ventures into reality TV, and how he balances his bustling career with family. Get ready for an insightful conversation filled with valuable lessons and inspiring stories. We welcome Mr. Robert Drenk.
Thank you for that intro, Joe. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's such a blessing to have you here, Robert. I'm stoked to have you, and I know I hit you up while we were in Phoenix to have you on the show, so I appreciate you making it out here. So we're going to dive right into it. You know, I've been tracking a lot of your success for the last couple of years. You've been doing some great things, a big, almost like a public figure in the mortgage space, and been dominating many spaces. But one thing I want to ask before I even get into the conversation is the Ultimate Arm Wrestling League like
Totally different, right? I get that one a lot. It's more of a passion as a child. I think you're my age, so you probably watched that movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, the truck driving one. So I grew up in that, and grew up in a city called Lake Paris, California. So we didn't have a whole lot to do, so we arm wrestled, and that was our young age, nothing to do. So just go around the lunch table and arm wrestle all the kids, and you get sent home each day with a letter saying, "Hey, Robert didn't pay attention in class, but he was arm wrestling." So, I had this passion at a young age and decided to take it up later in life.
So now, where is the Ultimate Arm Wrestling League? Like, where do you even do that at? Like,
it's still going. I headed the whole thing up with. I brought this business partner, Bill Collins, on. He was a World Arm Wrestling Federation top referee and longtime badass arm wrestler, like world champion. Great guy. I had met him at an arm wrestling competition, and I said, "Hey, I want to be the UFC of arm wrestling. Let's do this together." So I brought him in on a 15% stake and held 85, and we did arm wrestling. I invested over $3 million in it and got really, really close to bringing on a really big fish along with Fox Sports 1. But unfortunately, the owner of Legendary Entertainment, he backed out last second, and then the whole thing kind of crumbled on me. Lost the TV deal, lost everything, but it was really, really close.
Oh man, that seems so fun. So do you still air anywhere on television?
Not on television, not airing on television, but the events still take place today. My business partner, Bill Collins, runs it. And I just more took the focus back into the mortgage industry. But it's fun. I actually just went out and recently arm wrestled last year against this arm wrestling whisperer. He's got a huge following, a couple million followers or something, and he's really entertaining. He's a good-looking guy, so I think he attracts all the women, and his stamina is incredible. Blew me out of the water how his stamina was when I went and arm wrestled him. I haven't pulled in a couple of years, but I beat him one or two of the rounds, and he beat me 3. But entertaining match. So
we'll arm wrestle and just get dominated here real quick, just for the audience. So I like to start the show with just an icebreaker question, and that was my first icebreaker to talk about the arm wrestling. But so you're a super busy guy, crazy life. How do you start your morning? What's your morning routine like?
Oh man, first thing I do, I obviously get up in the morning and I do a facial to myself. It's weird, but I want my skin to look good, and then I want my daughters to follow suit with that. So I do a skin routine first thing in the morning. Sounds odd, but that's me.
He's got to keep your beauty going,
Keep that skin looking young. And then I wake up and put my drink together in the morning with my BCAAs, and I go right to the gym.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do every morning is I get right in the gym to start my day off.
So the beauty routine starts at what time?
Usually about 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So I'm up between 5:30 in the morning, take a shower, do my facial stuff just to wake myself up and feel good, and then I'm in the gym as quick as possible.
Yeah, you got some good skin though. It's like whatever you're doing, it's working. It's working. The beauty routine. Like I don't even know how old you are. I think you're. I can't tell with that beauty routine.
Oh, you're funny. I'm 43, so.
Yeah, it's working.
It's working. Yeah.
So you start. What age did you start in the mortgage industry?
So I started the mortgage industry in 2008. I had just sold my RV dealership, and I thought, like, what space could I get into that's going to give me a further reach than just San Diego County? I wanted something bigger, And so I reached out to my business partner now, and I said, he was my high school friend. I said, hey, let's start a mortgage company. And that was 2008, end of '08, beginning of '09.
Actually, I'm gonna digress here. The RV company, because what did you start? Mike's RVs over there off the 405? Like, is that the one that we're talking about here?
That's what it was. Yeah, I right out of high school, I ended up working for this company called Metropolitan Home Mortgage with my best friend from high school, and we both went to work there. And after like 90 days, I'm like, this isn't for me. I'm out. And so I found an RV dealership at 18, 19 years old. I'm like, I'm gonna go work there, and it was Mike Thompson's RV. I walked in shorts and a flip-flops and ran into the general manager. I didn't know who he was at the time, but he was a GM. And I'm like, hey, I want your job. And the guy had to have been laughing his ass off. I'm actually doing a loan for his daughter right now. But Mark Rosenbaum ended up being a really great mentor for me and took me under his wing and kind of built me up in the RV industry. And I did every damn position from 19 to about 25 years old. And then eventually I went out and opened my own RV dealership.
You ended up but Mike Thompson's RV, you started there, and then you left there and started your own RV dealership.
Yep.
In Huntington as well?
No, I took off. So there was an area in San Diego. We'd go to these meetings. So Mike Thompson's at the time was the biggest RV dealership in the world.
I think he still is.
He's top five, I think, right now. Top three. I think Lazy Days and a couple other ones are a little bit bigger, but he was the biggest at the time. And we had 3 locations. And I went to work there as a salesman and quickly became a finance manager. And then ended up being a finance director, used motorhome manager, and then eventually as a GM. And sitting in these meetings and learning about what areas had the most opportunity, it was San Diego. So I was constantly in these meetings here in San Diego, San Diego, San Diego. And I was like, screw it. I hopped in I had a Dodge Viper. I'm 25 years old, and I was making good money at the time. I'm driving down to San Diego. I'm going to go buy my own lot, basically. I'm going to start my own RV dealership. I was just a young kid with big aspirations, really. Looking back, I just had no fear. That's all it was. It's just a no fear thing. And I drove down there and I ended up finding a lot. And there was this old guy. I actually was driving down and there was a sign that said NAI San Diego. And it said Chula Vista. And I'm like, oh shit, that's Mexico. I was kind of like, oh, where am I going? So I get off the freeway and I walk into NAI San Diego and I meet this guy, Mark. And he's like, hey, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for a lot I want to buy. I want to do an RV dealership down here. And he goes, let me take you to my office and I'll show you an aerial map. So I look on it and I see this little RV square off Mission Gorge Road. And I'm like, what's that? He goes, oh, that's World RV. This guy, Bob Jacobs, owns it. I said, great, how do I get there? I drove down there, I park, I get out, I walk on a lot, and I see this old guy on an elliptical in his little office, right? And I'm like, what's this guy doing? And he walks out, and I'm not kidding you, 2.5 hours, 3 hours later, I hit it off with this guy. He owns a company. And I asked him, I said, hey, have you ever thought about retiring? And he goes, yeah, in a few years. And later that day, I gave him a deposit. We opened escrow, and I bought the company and closed in 30 days.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Big aspirations. The kid crushed it. So what age did you sell the RV company?
So I bought it, and I bought that and kicked it off at 25. And I owned a home in Irvine. I ended up selling the home in Irvine. I moved down there, and I lived on the lot for like 90 days. I was just living in an RV right there on my lot, just a toy hauler. And, it's a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice to grow sometimes. And that was it. I took my dad down with me and my wife at the time, and we just went down to San Diego. Never been there in my life before. So started the RV dealership, and within 3 years, I ended up buying, there was a boat dealership across the street. It wasn't doing very good with a huge indoor showroom. I bought that and then took it over and put motorhomes over there. So I had 2 RV dealerships. And then 3 years later, I ended up selling them.
Wow. Did you buy the land too?
I didn't buy the land. No, they were just leases.
Yeah, you bought the business though. That's awesome. And you crushed it, then entered the mortgage space after.
Yep.
Went big. So I like to refer to you, and I said this to you on text, like you're like the real mortgage Howard Hughes. You got into flying. You're always flying. You're always jet setting. You got the cool cars. And it's like this guy's living the dream. When did you start flying?
It was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was chartering airplanes and doing that whole thing here and there. And I hated waiting for people.
Yeah.
Time is the number one valuable thing that we have
Yeah.
as a human. And I'm like, wow, why am I waiting for pilots? Or why am I waiting for this? Like, I want to just do it myself. So I flew out to, where was it? Oklahoma. And I bought a brand new airplane. And I hired a CFI and I said, fly back with me. And it took us 3 days. We're flying home. This airplane only went 120 miles an hour, right? It's a little 2019 Piper Archer. And we had a 100-knot headwind one day. We have 100 knots to the head, and the plane goes 120. So I'm going 20 miles an hour. The cars underneath me are passing me. Right? I was like, oh my gosh. So that was my first experience. I bought the plane, flew it home with a CFI, and then I was dedicated to it. And
You flew it home from Oklahoma with 100 knots against you, 100 headwind?
for a short period of time, yeah.
Probably took like a
3 days.
Oh my gosh.
3.
So how do you fly for 3 days straight?
Well, you fly for, 3 hours, and then you stop, and then you get fuel, and then you stay at a hotel because you're exhausted. And then you get up and you do it again for 3 hours, and then stop at another airport, get back up in the air, fly for another 3 hours because you got to use the restroom. That little airplane doesn't have a toilet.
Yeah. How fast does your plane go now?
Right now, the airplanes that I'm flying are anywhere from 350 to 400 knots.
Man, that's amazing. It's amazing. I know, you always have like, you're like, I'm on cat life number 9 now.
Yeah, I think I am really,
It's like, you're like a walking miracle, but it's an inspiration though.
Thanks.
It's an inspiration. Now, out of all the industries you decided to enter, why did you enter the mortgage industry, the riskiest business of all, where you would make no money for the foreseeable future?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So in the RV business, the mentor that I had, Mark, ran Mike Thompson's, and the owner, Frank DeGallis, great guy, still owns the company today. He's a good friend. What I learned is I wanted more. He's wealthy. He's very well off. He lives a great life, but he's still in that RV dealership every damn day because his reach is only so far. And I thought to myself back then, like, the richest people in the world are reaching millions of people. They're not reaching Orange County, San Bernardino County, and San Diego County, right? Their reach is across the United States, across the world. And so, sports athletes, musicians, they're making pennies or dollars off millions of people instead of $20,000 on one RV in Orange County, And so I thought, what can I do that gives me a bigger reach so I could have bigger success in life? And I thought, the mortgage business. And so the way I looked at it was, it's a bigger risk, but it's going to have a bigger reward. And I just went for it. That was it. I sold the RV dealership, and I said, I'm going mortgage.
Who told you about the mortgage industry?
Well, remember when I was 18 or 19, I got into the mortgage industry, and my best friend, he worked for his cousin. We both went to work there. And I saw that, and I just, got out of the space because I didn't like it at the time. I like to sell face-to-face, and we were doing everything over the phone. So I just hit him back up when I sold the RV dealership, and I said, hey, look, let's do a mortgage company. And at the time, he had quit his cousin's shop, and he went and got a broker's license, him and one other person. And they were working in this little tiny office. And I said, look, I've got all my ex-finance managers. We sold, $500,000 RVs. It's the same financing shit. So why don't I bring all these finance guys in? I'll fund the company. We'll hire some processors. My ex-wife at the time she did all my stuff in the RV industry. My dad worked for me, so I took everybody that was in key positions that understood it, and I said, let's start this mortgage company. So my best friend and I went 50-50. I funded the company, and in 3 months, I got all my money back.
That's awesome. Your entrepreneur journey is like really fascinating, and a lot of people don't know. Like, everyone sees like Robert Drenk, the Howard Hughes of mortgage, like fancy cars, planes, but they don't know what you put in, like your entrepreneur spirit. Like, what do you think's been the biggest source that drove you to be an entrepreneur like this?
Oh man, I think it just goes back to my childhood. I like change. I'm not afraid of change. There's no fear for me in that, and I give that to my dad. Growing up, I grew up. I went to 13 schools. So I had to adapt to change. We lived in Florida. We lived in Lake Paris, Moreno Valley, Huntington Beach, then to a different part of Florida. So it was constant change. And as much as I'd like to say it's a great thing, which it is, it also comes with some downfalls. But the change is probably my biggest strength into what made me a great entrepreneur, is not being afraid.
So you're fearless.
Yeah, basically.
And that's because of change. And people are scared of change. But that it's like, it kind of goes back, like now you're like marketing, you're on Bankrate, like you don't want to change from that though.
But I'm fearless, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going bigger in that space.
Yeah.
I know that space.
Yeah.
As you get a little bit older, I'm going to be honest, now there is a little bit of hesitation on certain things. I think I'm a little older and a little wiser now.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite as wild and crazy as I once was. I used to risk no fear.
So how important is taking risks now for you?
It's still very big. You have to take risks. If you're not willing to take risks, somebody else is, and they're going to beat you.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah.
They're gonna eat your lunch.
Yep.
So you know, I like to ask this question, but we kind of answered it, but when you start a business, there's this element of like you're crazy, right? Like, what do you think? Like, why were you crazy enough to start your own business? What do you think? Is it the fearlessness? Is it
I just wanted more. I wanted freedom. That's the same reason why I fly, right? It's freedom. It's being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. And I don't believe anybody does it any better. So why rely on somebody else? Like, go do it yourself. And when it came to leaving the RV industry and wanting something bigger, it was, if I back up to 2008, I saw the market crashing. I saw it coming, right? I was like, oh crap, this is coming, and I saw a lot of my buddies that went out and opened their own RV dealerships failing and not paying the banks and going belly up. And once you go belly up, you can't get back in that space. Once you burn a space, you're out, right? And I didn't burn it. I got out of the space and I got out successfully. And I remember thinking, God, in the mortgage industry, there's a lot of people burning space, right? And, like one of them, the guy Daniel Sadek, great guy, did big things, I guess. And
crash some Lambos?
Crashed some Lambos, had some fun, Ferraris, and had some fun. And I knew like he couldn't get back in the space. So if a bunch of these big guys can't get back in the space, I figured I'm going to jump in and take that risk and have the reward that comes with it.
Love it. Now, you're like very resilient. You went through a lot of tumultuous times in your life, flying, different business. What do you think is the source of inspiration for your work ethic, your grind? Like you got crazy tenacious grit.
I think just growing up with nothing, right? I think when you have nothing and you want something more in life, that you're going to do whatever it takes to have what you want. And, I grew up in a 900 square foot house with 7 kids.
You're one of 7?
Yeah. I have 6 sisters.
Wow.
Yeah. So growing up on a couch and fighting for one bathroom, maybe that's what it was, right?
Wow. I didn't know you were one of 7.
Yeah.
6 sisters. You got a lot of nieces and nephews.
I've got a few. Yeah. I got a few. Matter of fact, one of my nephews, I got him into flying, and he's in college right now. Just passed his commercial license, so I got him doing.
Yeah, I think I saw a post about that one day. Man, 6 sisters. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to. You just don't see families like that nowadays. Like I got 4 kids. You got 3?
3, yeah.
Yeah. So even like 3, like, wow, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. 3 kids, let me tell you. I got 3, and then my ex-wife's she's my 4th one, so she's the hardest.
That's like, you sound like my wife with me. Like, I got 5 kids actually. So what do you think? What do you think were some of the biggest challenges? This is a twofold question. When you started the RV company, and then when you started the mortgage company.
What are the 2 biggest challenges?
Yeah, that you faced starting both those businesses? Because you were 25, you were a kid.
I was young. Yeah, I remember
starting your own RV company. That's a big deal.
It was a big risk. I mean, I really didn't have that much. I thought I had way more than I had, but I really didn't have anything. I had enough to get it going, and I didn't even realize, like, I guess how risky that was at the time. But I took everything I had and I just went for it. But if you believe in yourself, like, you're going to win. And that's really what it comes down to. How much do you believe in yourself, and what are you willing to sacrifice? Like I said earlier, I slept in an RV for 90 days, a toy hauler, right? Like, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to put all of your eggs in your own basket? And if you are, then you're going to win. And if you aren't, then you're going to lose. Don't second guess yourself. So I think the biggest thing was taking the risk, and then secondly, making sure you hire the right people. Having the right people around you makes all the difference. So when I worked at Mike Thompson's, I put all the key people around me and every job aspect that I knew needed to be done. And it wasn't just because I thought I was eventually going to go open my own, but I just like having people around me that are my people, right? Key people that are good, that work, that understand what I'm doing before I'm going to do it. So I don't have to go back and go, hey, you should be doing it this way. No, you know how I'm going to do it, so you do it that way. And I put those people in these key positions, had all these basically everything covered. So when I went to open my own spot, everybody just went. That was it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when and the same thing applied in the mortgage space. You did the same thing, both RV and carry that same philosophy.
I've got guys that still work at the mortgage company that worked for me in the RV space.
And it's same thing here, actually. It's funny you say that. I had a company in 2008, American Mitigation, or 2007, and they're still here. It's almost 20 years.
They're family, right?
Yeah.
You build these relationships with people, and they become family, and you want them to be successful and rise with you. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. You treat people like family. You treat them with love, and it's like they're there. They've been with you forever. Um, Now, like, what sort of specific skills or mindsets do you think are imperative for success right now in the mortgage industry?
Just staying positive. The biggest thing you can do is believe in yourself and stay positive and understand that this business comes with ups and downs. So no matter what you do, as long as you stay positive, you're gonna end up positive, right? And if it's kind of like snowboarding, I train a lot of people how to snowboard. I love to snowboard, and you want to look where you want to snowboard. If you're looking down, you're gonna fall and eat shit. If you're looking up and you're looking where you want to go, you're gonna go that way. It's the same thing in business. You got to stay positive. If you start getting negative, you're gonna end up negative. So I stay positive.
Nice. So you're good at snowboarding too? Arm wrestler, snowboarder.
I'm decent. I've got one. I ride one ankle, so I'm decent. But yeah,
What do you mean one ankle? Like,
I've got one ankle that's just completely shattered. I crashed a car 2 years ago, and it shattered my ankle. 5 surgeries. So
oh yeah, when you crashed the Ferrari. Gosh, that was scary.
that was a scary moment. That was a life changer for me, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
What lessons do you think it taught you?
Oh God, so many. Honestly, to be thankful for everything you have, because you just never know. Like 1 minute, everything could be over. That's really so. The biggest thing is just being thankful and living in every moment. And I think you said something earlier about I'm constantly doing something, and that's because I'm thankful and I'm grateful for everything I have. But I know I have one life, and I only have so much time. So I try to balance everything the best I can. Getting up early at 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning, getting to the gym right away so that I can come home and then spend an hour with my daughter and get her off to school. My oldest daughter lives with me full time basically, so I try to spend that morning with her. But if I wait to 6:30 or 7, I'm not gonna be able to have that time with her. So, or I don't. You got to choose gym, But
Yeah.
I need the gym to get my mind right, then come home and be fresh with my daughter, get her off, and then get into the office. So.
Love it. Now, after all your success and failures, and then life-changing moments, like how do you continue to find motivation? What do you think inspires you the most?
Gosh, that's so many things. I think my kids inspire me probably the most right now. I think it changes. I can't say it's always my kids. Sometimes they drive me nuts, but
I know,
but
I hear you.
yeah, I don't know. I just probably my kids. I want my kids to enjoy life that I didn't have when I grew up. So I try to do as much as I can with them. We just went to Vegas this weekend and took their football team and the coaches on a private jet, went to the mansions, and had just a phenomenal time with everybody. And I wanted the children to see what life can be if you really want it bad enough.
Nice. Now, I want to kind of pivot the conversation. Are you, and I know we briefly mentioned this, but are you starting to see any implementation of AI in your business, or on the underwriting side, on, the origination side, or how do you think it's going to impact what you're doing right now?
Well, I think it's definitely coming. I have not done a good job with that. AI, I couldn't tell you the slightest thing. I know it's definitely going to make things much more efficient and cost effective in the mortgage industry. I definitely know it's coming, but I let people like you figure it out first, and then I pick your brain.
Yeah, we got to adopt quick. You got to be early adopters, and that's one of the things we get to sit down and chat about it, and you realize where some of the deficiencies are when you mastermind with all the best of the best, right?
Yep.
And that's why we attend these events and just kind of pick people's brains. But one thing I really admire about you is how you're fostering talent. Like, give me some, how do you think you're fostering talent? You've created family relationships with these guys. What are some of the other things you're doing to really foster these guys?
That's what
You got some great talent.
You invest in your people, and it's not just work or being there for them. I answer my phone 24/7, right? Because communication's key.
Yeah.
And when your people need you, you need to be there for them, and you got to treat them like family. I do it with my daughters and my son. If they call, I don't care what I'm doing, I answer the phone, and I try to do that with the people I work with so that they know they're important. So you got to give them your time. You got to show them the care and concern, and then you got to be personal with them. And I try to do that with my employees and family at work. We go out to lunch. I take different people to lunch every single day and just talk to them about their day and what they're doing. And,
You cut out to lunch every day with someone wanting to build those relationships?
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have any specific mentors in your life?
I've got a few. Like I said, Mark Rosenbaum from Mike Thompson's RVs, one of the sharpest men I've ever met in my life. Mike Ansich was also one of the guys that worked there, very close to him. And obviously, I talk to Matt Ishbia probably every couple of days. So
Yeah.
he's incredible. That guy's definitely the smartest guy I've met in my life.
Yeah, he's been an inspiration to both of us. He's helped I meet with him all the time, and he fires you up.
Oh, he fires you up, and time management, right? That's the one thing that I can definitely tell you I've learned from Ish is his time management is incredible, and every minute's worth tons of money, right? Because he's very successful. So any time you get with Matt, you need to absorb every little bit that you can absorb from him, and a lot of the stuff that I picked up from Matt has made my personal life better.
What are some nuggets you can share with the audience here?
Just, again, the time management so that I have more time to be with my children. So one thing that he does is he goes on airplane mode when he's with his kids. Like, nobody's bothering him. Nobody bugs him when he's with his children. You're not going to reach him. It doesn't matter. His kids come first. So he makes that time for his kids. But everything else in his life, if it's something that doesn't deserve his time, he finds somebody else that does it, right? So, like, when I went to his house, as little as his snack closet, completely organized. Somebody handles all the snacks for his kids. He just basically tells them, hey, this is how I want it. And they do it that way every day. So he's not having to sit there and make sure his kids have the proper snacks. It's silly. But now I hired an organizing lady at my house, and she comes every single week like clockwork, and she handles everything from laundry to organizing my clothes in my closet, right? I've got housekeepers that come, and they make sure that the house is dialed in, so I don't have to worry about anything but making my bed in the morning, which is probably the first thing I do and my kids do. But outside of that, you don't have to worry about anything. So now it's like, okay, what's important? Straight to the gym, right? Get back from the gym. What's important? Spending an hour with my daughter, shutting everything off, spend that hour, get her off to school. I'm not worried about all the things that I can pay somebody 25 or 35 or 40 bucks an hour to do, right? So that you get the most out of your day. And I think that's what I learned from Matt.
That's awesome. Those are good nuggets. And I don't have an organizing lady. She kind of has a blended job. So that's...
I'll introduce you to Carrie. She's phenomenal.
She organizes everything down to the color. Everything's color-coded in the closet.
Your drawers, you name it, everything in your house, like your kitchen, your bathrooms. I don't even go to the store anymore. She goes to the store for me. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff,
That's awesome. And I hope people kind of understand like the importance of that, because that's why you became a pilot, right? It's like you wanted to just not deal with the going on an airplane, waiting around a couple hours.
John Wayne's great, but go to John Wayne, you're sitting there for an hour. Like, who wants to waste an hour of your time going to the airport just through security checkpoints and sitting around?
These people who are listening are going to LAX.
LAX is way worse. Stay out of LAX,
that's like a day going and coming back.
No thanks.
Like, you don't even know what that's like. When was the last time you went to LAX? Have you ever been to LAX?
I've been to LAX. I've flown. I actually flew my little Piper Archer as a student pilot into LAX, which was incredible, right? Because they got the big jumbo, so they spin you in circles until they fit you between two airplanes. And then you come down for your landing, and you have to be full throttle all the way down the runway to get off. Otherwise, a jumbo is going to ram up your ass. So, yeah, that was a great lesson at LAX for me.
That's awesome. Now, what's your favorite thing that you do to relax out of all the activities? You snowboard, fly. Like, what's your favorite thing to do?
Flying hands down. I mean, I love the snowboard. I've got a lot of hobbies I like. It's not calming for me, but one of my biggest things I love is watching my daughter play football. Both of them.
You play football?
Play flag football, yeah. That's why we were in Vegas. They had a flag football tournament out there, and so we went out, and I love watching her. But that's not a calm moment. I'm that dad on the sideline screaming at the referees. I got ejected the first game. First game within 5 minutes, I get ejected. And it was just, hey, the girl stepped out of bounds. He gave her a touchdown. No, she really stepped out of bounds, and he was not the kindest person. And then he ejected me. I'm like, and that's in Matt Leinart's league.
That's so funny. Like, I get that way myself with my kids' baseball too.
Right? We're passionate. Passionate.
I think I'm much more upset when they lose than he is. Like, he doesn't even notice.
Yeah,
I'm just like kicking the dirt.
Yeah, that's funny. That's how I am. But flying is definitely probably the most calming thing, because you shut everything out. When you fly, your life's on the line. So everything gets shut off. Nobody's trying to reach you. Nobody can contact you. You don't have, anybody can get a hold of you. So you're in the air. It's just you and peace.
Nice. Now you got a lot of great things going. Like, if there's anything that you could change in your life, what would you change and why would you do it?
Well, I can't say I would change anything. There's nothing in my life that I would change. I'm very, very happy with where I'm at right now. I've got goals, so
We're gonna get into that. That's gonna be the next question, actually.
yeah.
'Cause as we kind of wrap up here, it's actually a three-part goal question. Okay, what's your personal goal? What's a family goal? And what's a business goal that you have?
Okay, those are all three great, great things to bring up. My children's goal is just more time playing sports and sitting and doing homework with my kids so that they get straight A's. That's the most important thing
You
to
sit
me.
with your kids and do homework.
Yeah, I sit with my daughter and do
That's
homework.
one thing we have tutoring, and like that's the only thing that I've
See,
delegated out.
for me, that's time that I enjoy spending with her because I want her to remember what is most important. And most important in life is for me with my daughters is to have structure and be disciplined and understand that you have to work for things in life. And that's what school teaches them, in my opinion. It teaches
Yeah.
them that, hey, you have to put this work in. So sitting with her and doing homework with her teaches her that that's important to me, right? And so if it's important to me, then it's going to be important to her. So
That's awesome.
that's my oldest one. She, like I said, she lives with me more full time right now. She's had some struggles over the last few years. I think the divorce was tough on her. So giving her that attention right now is really important.
The homework's getting hard right now. I was like,
Some of the stuff I don't even know. She's like, Dad, what's this? I'm like, let me ask Siri. Hang on.
ChatGPT it now.
See, I'm picking things up from you. I'm going to be whatever that is. AI, I got to learn it.
And then a family goal that you have for the family.
Family goal, I'm actually going right towards that. I'm really happy with where I'm at with my ex-wife right now. Everybody's got personal stuff, but we're in a good spot. I just took her to Vegas. My goal, honestly, with my family would be to try and help her be the best version of her. She's my ex-wife. I obviously, she's going to be in my life the rest of my life. So arguing or fighting or not helping her be the best version of her is not something I need to do. I need to put more effort into making her still the best version of her, for my kids' sake, for her sake, and for my sake. So I think it starts with her. It starts with me and her and the relationship that we have, and then it's going to trickle down to the kids so that we can still be that one, happy family, and then eventually, get remarried again at some point and invite that into the family aspect.
Are you think that's always what God's will is for family units, right? And if that's even on the table and even on your mind, and I'm not saying this as a to preach or anything, but the family unit is gold.
Yeah.
Right? So that's good that that's on your mind, and that's good that's something that's at the forefront of one of your goals, because that's very noble that you're even inviting that as a potential.
I mean, you have to be that way, right? I've done the whole the Playboy single thing, and really, what I've learned is it doesn't bring you a ton of happiness. That's not where my happiness comes from. Is it fun? Can it be fun? Yeah, sure, but that's not the happiness. The happiness is definitely, inviting. You can get spiritual, whatever. You invite God and a family into your life, and teach your kids right from wrong, and have that aspect. So that's definitely more so where I'm headed.
Yeah, we live in a chaotic world now. We were talking about it. It's just a world of craziness, and just like craziness is just getting more accepted, and it's like
Yep.
weird now times. So my biggest fear is like, and I'm sure your biggest fear too. It's like our kids getting even close to that world, right? It's like terrifying.
It's very scary. Yeah, there's just stuff. The social media scares the shit out of me for my kids.
Yeah,
My oldest she's so tech savvy, man. She can get in your phone. I don't know how she gets in there, but she gets in there. She changes everything. Next thing you know, she's got your face thing on her, and every social media app. I try to delete them. They can bring them back on. I don't even know how to get rid of this stuff, but they're sharp at a young age, and it's
yeah,
scary because I wasn't that smart, that tech savvy.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're born with it, So they're like they got. I think they're creating YouTube channels like 7 now. Who knows? It's like I gotta pay somebody to do that still.
I had a rotary phone at her age. I'm not kidding. Like we had a wall heater and a rotary phone. We had the little green one with the circle thing. So
Yeah.
we didn't have that.
So and then the last thing is a business goal.
Business goal. So my goal this year truly was to double business from the year before, and we're on target right now.
Love it. Love it. And I hope you do, and I hope you quadruple it.
Thank you.
I hope you quadruple it. And because you're a good guy and you deserve the best. And, I hope God brings you nothing but blessings and continues to allow you to crush it. I got one last question, then we adjourn. when you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's going to say to you?
Oh man, that's a good one. I don't know. Hopefully he tells me I did a good job. I don't know. God, you're hitting me with a good one. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to say. I guess I got to keep doing the best job I can do for my family, for kids, and continue to help other people. And then hopefully he says you did well.
That's what I wanted to hear, man. You've been an awesome guest, Robert. And I hope a lot of people are inspired by what you've said to the audience, and and a lot of people don't know your story. So this is, I think, your first public display of your story. So God bless you. I don't want to arm wrestle you in public.
Okay.
You'll just destroy me. Thanks, everybody. Robert Drenk, CEO of Optimum First. God bless him. Awesome dad. Awesome person. Make sure to follow him.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jim.
Absolutely.